Hello and welcome to PME's Facebook Live event. We've got a real spooky edition for you this time round, so if you're watching from home or anywhere in the world, we hope we're going to give you some really good hints and tips on some last minute cakes and ideas that you could do to help make your Halloween event a party event and one to be remembered forevermore. So wherever you are in the world joining us, whether it's now live or you're watching it a little bit later on, we'd like to say welcome to you all for joining us. And hopefully you'll pick up some good ideas along the way. Now, you've seen the spider cake there that Peter's already been filming, and this little effort is what we're going to accomplish today. It's very quick and it's very easy, and it doesn't involve any carving, it just involves cake hop mixture. So this means to say that anybody in the family can get involved. The little ones, because it's half term here in the UK, you can help out, and whether it's mum, dad or grandparents, you can all get stuck in with this lovely spider. And I think Peter posted, Peter's doing the filming there by the way, he posted the name of the spider, which is Snape. I've always named all my novelty things, and all the spiders in my house, I'm afraid, are always called Snape. There's been quite a few over the years, and it just makes it easy when it comes to naming them. So, in order to get underway, the first thing we're going to do is prepare the board that he's actually sitting on. So we've given it a nice web look, and I've started off already, and I've got the board coated, covered it over in cling film, just to make sure that it didn't dry out for us. So I'll just give that a little spin round on the board, and you can kind of see. We've got a little bit of a marking there, a bit of texturing from the cling film. To be honest, I quite like that on there, so I'm going to leave that put. I'm not going to change that at all. And I'm just going to use the sharp edge of my leaf shaper. So that's that bit there Peter's just coming in to show you now. And I'm just going to start off by dividing my board into sections. So first of all, halfway, so just nice down the centre. And then just quarter it up so you can see straight away, nice and easy. Now on the board as well, we've done some airbrushing when we've been doing the body and the legs, and it just catches a little bit onto the webby design, and it actually gives it a nice look. So I'm not too bothered that that's happened, it just gives it a bit of shading, which is really, really good. So we'll be making the spider, and we'll be doing a little bit of modelling as well. And that's the witch. She's been eaten by the spider at the moment, so watch out, witchy. It didn't end well for the witch on this occasion at all. So I'm just going around, just kind of creating a little bit of an extra kind of depth to the web. And then we're just going to create a little bit of a half moon shape, if you like, in each of the segments. So there we go. You can see how easy that is to just create that little web design. So just push in, and around you go. It doesn't have to be a perfect web shape, because webs kind of tend to kind of flow, and sometimes they break, so you've got lots of different options you can do and create. And here we go. So already you can see what a nice design. Oh, I missed Pat out altogether. She's got a board holding up. Give him a sign. Don't forget, we've got Peter on the camera. We've got Samir upstairs sending messages down, and then we've got Pat over in the corner. Don't laugh, anybody. Pat in the corner with the boards. So whenever there's anything to pass on, that's our way of communicating with each other here when we're doing our Facebook Live events. We keep it very high tech here. It works really well for us, so that's the important thing. So don't forget, if you want to have a little shout out, you can do. Whether you're an approved location that maybe you just want to let everybody know and shout about that. Whether you're a trade customer and you want to shout that you're there, if anybody wants to hop on and needs a product and you might be able to offer that to them, feel free to do so. And we'll gladly give you a little shout out as well. There we go. And then just kind of do a little bit of an extra bit of joining. So there we go, there's our web on the way. So just to make it stand out just a little bit at the moment, we're going to do a little bit of a silver sequin dust I've got just over here on my kitchen towel, ready to add in. I've lost my brush, my other one, it's gone flying away all over the place. And then just very liberal with your dust, don't hold back, because you want that kind of look going on to make it kind of jump a little bit. Makes it look extra Halloweeny that way too. And again, this is something that all the children at home are going to really, really enjoy doing. And the adults as well, don't forget them. Oh, got some smiley faces going along, I think I'm being told, and we've had some thumbs up as well. So hopefully seeing Snape the Spider's made you all very happy as well. As happy as it makes me. That would have been fun to have done a competition for Snape the Spider, I have to admit. And I think we've got some shout outs as well, so now's a good time to do that. And I'm sorry if ever we forget to do a shout out, or we can't do a shout out for you. We kind of move on quite fast, and then sometimes we do forget, and I'm sorry if we do, we don't mean to. But Pat's got some now, so now's a good time while I'm dusting our web.
Shall I go?
Oh yeah, go Pat, go.
Okay, so first of all, this is from Helena from Sweden.
Ooh,
and she sends you a lovely pumpkin and a wonderful ghost.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Thank you, Helena.
And Patricia Marino sends greetings and hugs from Chile.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you very much.
And I've also got Kieran Patel says hello from the London Business School Library.
I wonder who that might be. Hi, Kieran. Good to know you're watching. Hope it's all going well for you. So there we go. So you can see you can very easily kind of just add, and don't be afraid to add in a little bit more dust, which is a little bit of shading. So it actually looks as though there's a bit of light on the web in areas as well. So once you've got your airbrush going on over the top of that, that will look really, really good. Again, a little bit of dust going on there. And I can see Peter looking intently there. He's wishing so much that he was doing this right now, I can tell.
Of course.
Might hold him to that later and actually get him to do some of this, so he may regret it. So there we go, that's looking good. Now while I'm kind of just going back over this again, I'm going to start looking or thinking about creating this cake pop mix, because it's going to be very, very easy. This means to say it's going to be last minute, no problem at all for anybody to achieve. So over in the mixer, I'm just going to leave this to one side for now, and that's all ready to go. Pop that there. We've got what is 2 6-inch cakes ready to go. We've got some more shout outs. So what I'll do is I'll get this set up, and then we'll come back to Pat. So she mustn't forget that we've got some more shout outs. So 2 lots of 6-inch round cake, more than enough, and plenty left over, so you can do some other spooky treats with the leftovers, or some cake pops if that's what you want to do. And I'm just going to pop the lid down, and I'm just going to get that mixed up. Now you don't have to do it in a mixer, you can do it all by hand if that's what you want to do. I'm just being lazy, so I've used the mixer. I've also got my buttercream ready just over here as well. Probably anywhere between 500 and 750 grams, but to be honest it depends on how much cake you're going to use. Just make sure that however much cake and however much buttercream, you get a good firm mixture with it, so it kind of lumps together all good. And you can see I've coloured mine in a lovely green. So there it is, quick flash of that lovely green there, Peter. How's that for a nice Halloween colour? It is. I thought that was quite awesome too, to be honest. So that's all ready to drop into there. And the beauty of this is, if you haven't actually got time to bake, you can pop into your supermarket, or you might have something sitting in the freezer that was left over, take it out, defrost it, get it at home from the supermarket, job done, which is ideal. We're going to make the legs as well, but if you really wanted to be honest, you could maybe just use some straw laces or something like that. I don't know, breadsticks maybe coated in some buttercream. So there you go, you can see you've got like this lovely mixture going on in here, and I'm going to add to that my buttercream that's coloured up. And I've only done that just because I wanted it to be exciting, really. That's my reason there. So this is a lovely kind of colour. It's a very good Halloween colour. There we go. Pat loves green. She's put in her face. That's a deliberate joke because I know Pat hates green most of the time, actually. There we go. So I'm going to lose that down there out the way and just pop that back in again and give it a little mix round. Again, you can do it by hand if that's what you really want to do. I've got some spare buttercream as well. It's always a good idea to have a little bit extra for yourself, just in case you need some more, or the cake itself is a bit drier than you thought, and then you can still lump it together really well. So I think we've got some shout outs as well. Go for it, Pat.
Okay. So we're travelling the world, Paul. Are you ready?
That's what we've been doing a lot of lately.
We have indeed.
All back from a teacher seminar in Pan Pacific.
So first of all, Shamin says hello from Toronto.
Hello.
Jens loves your outfit. Says very funny outfit.
Oh, funny? Oh, it wasn't
funny.
It wasn't meant to be funny. It was meant to be just nice.
Nicole says hello from Honduras.
Oh, great.
Jessica says hello from New Jersey.
Ooh.
And Laura says hello from Italy.
Isn't that great? Hello to everybody that's watching. Hopefully you're enjoying and getting some good ideas.
And there's lots of people with you, so
that's
they're
really
loving
good
the
to
spider.
know. That's great. I'm pleased because obviously I love spiders, and if you're all loving spiders out there, that also makes me very happy too. I was telling everybody earlier, one day I'd love a tarantula. The only problem is that when I get a tarantula, everybody that's at home will leave, so I'll be on my own. Okay, so I've got my mix, so you can have a look at that, and it lumps together really well, and that's what we actually need. We need it nice and firm. And already you can see how easy it is to create whatever shape you need. In this case, our little spider. So now that's ready to roll. I'm going to bring over one that I've got prepared earlier in true Blue Peter style, as they say. So I'm just going to move my board over to there. There's a lot of moving around bits and pieces here because there's some large things. And I'm going to bring in, ta-da! Right, so here we've got his head. That bit's all ready, and we're going to create the body. So it's just slightly more oval, that's all. I'm going to put the gloves back on. And I'm just going to remove the amount that I need. Start shaping it really. That's that easy to do. Right, so I'm just going to pop this next to it and start it off with a round, giving it a good squash as you go. Add a little bit more into that, so I've got tons left over. You don't have to worry about it going on a stick or anything like that, which is really, really good. And I've actually got it on the back of a board, so I hope that's not reflecting too much for you, Peter. And I've done that just because it's going to be easier for me to move over. And if you just want to know that it's a good size, just kind of pop it on there a little bit if you want to. It could go a little bit bigger. But they could be any size and any sort and any shape. Anything at all that you want. Now, if you're only just joining us and you're tuning in, we're just showing you how to make a very, very quick, very easy Halloween spider using some cake pop mix. And I've coloured it green just so that that's really nice for when you cut in. And it's all extra Halloweeny inside. We're also going to be showing you how to make his legs, but you could do those yourself very, very easily. Just by grabbing some sweets out of the supermarket or some breadsticks, that type of thing, if that's what you wanted to do. So I think that's quite a good look to the spider. Okay, so now I've got some white buttercream. There we go. And I just started off by using 2 6-inch round cakes. I've broken them up in the mixer, and I've added to that between 500 and 700 grams of the green buttercream, and now I've just got some white buttercream which I'm just ladling liberally over what is the giant cake pop body of the spider, who is called Snape. So it's nice and soft, so it goes on very easy. And also because I'm going to then use a mini palette knife just to pull through the buttercream, just to give it a little bit of a hairy texture. Because when you go in close with them, a lot of them are quite hairy. And for Halloween, a hairy spider just always looks that much better than a non-hairy spider. Just adds to the fun of it all, really, doesn't it? So hopefully you've all got some party plans for Halloween as well. And the youngsters will be out there doing a little bit of trick-or-treating as well. I think sometimes that's more for the parents though, because they enjoy it just as much. So again, nice and thick over there. Now it doesn't matter if you haven't totally covered this in buttercream and there's any gaps, because we're going to airbrush as well. And I think the airbrushing just kind of lends itself to the look. But you could actually choose to maybe use some luster spray instead, if that's going to be better for you. There we go, so that's probably more than enough on there. Now normally I'd pop that into the fridge and leave it to set, so when I lift this off it's not going to kind of fall or do anything it shouldn't do. And Pat's got some shout outs, so while I'm just going to scrape through this, we're going to do some shout outs. That's a good time there, Pat.
Is that
perfect timing? Yeah.
Right, we go. So here we go. I've got quite a list here.
Oh, okay.
So first of all, Anne-Marie Walther says hello from Norway, and she gives you a lovely smiley face and a thumbs
that's
up.
really lovely. And back. Yay.
And Martha says good morning from Texas.
Oh, morning, Texas. What time is it? What time is it in Texas?
And Mary Monterio says hello.
Hi.
And Lisbeth Hernandez says she loves your work.
Oh, that's really nice to know.
And greetings from Peru.
Oh, lovely.
Now here's a name you'll know.
You
would have been disappointed if
I
this
think
one,
I know what this is
if this
coming
one
up.
hadn't come through.
Shall I guess? Shall I try
Go
and guess?
for it.
Could they be an approved location of
They
ours?
could be.
A very good trade customer.
Exceedingly so.
In Pan Pacific.
In Pan Pacific.
With a floral name.
You've got it.
Oh.
So you better tell everybody who you're talking
It's
about.
Peggy and Joseph of Blossom Cake in Hong Kong. Yay. Hello.
And we have Iris Bolas sends kisses from Brazil.
Lovely.
Well, actually, Brazil frontier, Brazil stroke Bolivia.
Ooh.
Sue Fieldhouse says, I don't like spiders.
Oh.
But this one
Could be
looks...
something else.
Hold on,
Oh, okay.
hold on. But this one looks quite sweet, and she
Yes.
sends you a smiley face.
Oh, that is good. I'm pleased that she likes it and can see the positive side of having a friendly spider. That's always
And
good.
Natasha says cake beautiful, and she's from Italy.
Ooh, that's a nice name.
Veronica, good afternoon from South Italy.
Hello.
And I'll leave you to carry on.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
That's really good
Wonderful.
though, isn't it? Isn't that great to know that you're all watching and that you're enjoying what you're seeing as well? That's always really, really important, because that's the whole idea of this, is that, you know, you can pick up some ideas and have fun with them as well. Now I'm going to move on to a bit of airbrushing, so this is going to be a bit noisy, and if I'm honest, we didn't kind of see how noisy this one was going to be. So there we go, it's not too bad, is it? So a little bit of airbrushing. Just going to do a bit of orange to start off with. But you can do any colour that you want to. I just thought this was nice and Halloween-y, and I like the texture that goes with it. Now I'd normally build it up a little bit, give it a couple of coats, but we won't have time for that. And like I say, I'd normally have chilled this side before then starting to airbrush it. Just gives you a nice firm base to work with, but you don't have to worry too much about that. And I'm sure you'll understand if it's all a bit speeded up from where it is. Now, if you're interested, the colours that I'm actually using are the orange and the black as well. I've left them out for when Peter has a chance to be able to have a look at those, just to the front there in case anybody's interested. That's me buying some time while I quickly put some black over our spider. Might have to have a refill in a second as well. And I'll touch up the buttercream and the airbrushing when I've lifted them on to the board that we've got ready too. You've got to be careful where you stand, Peter, you just might end up airbrushed. He's laughing because he was threatening to put luster spray all over me a little bit earlier on. Talking about luster spraying my face green or something. It could all come back to bite you, Peter. There we go. So I am going very quickly. What I did with the other spider is I just went back over it again, just to darken it that little bit extra. So I'm not in too far away, quite close. And then just building it up as we go. And I think in a minute Pat might have a question. So ready whenever you are, Pat.
Okay. Well, first of all, in answer to your question, in Texas it's just after 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow, you're up early. Cup of coffee maybe?
So the question comes from Tamara in Holland, and she's asking what kind. What kind of buttercream do you use?
So that's just a white fat one. So you could use margarine if you wanted to. So obviously whatever you're used to. So some icing sugar, a little bit of milk in there to help kind of drop in consistency. and icing sugar, butter or margarine. I like butter in my buttercream, but obviously that will be a slight creamy colour to it. So entirely up to you, but you can use your white fat if that's what you want to do to make sure that it's, you know, a good take for the colour if that's what you want to do. So it's not special buttercream. I would say use your favourite buttercream and what one you're happiest with, to be honest. Hope that helps. And then we've got a shout out as well from Pat.
Okay.
How's he looking so far? Looking spooky.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
All right then.
So we've got another batch of shout outs, and this is from Galactica. She says hello from Melbourne in Australia.
Wow,
all the way from Australia.
Wow, that's great.
And Jens is back again. He says thank you for the nice opportunity to watch you and share the nice ideas with us.
Oh, that's really good. It's a pleasure. It's our pleasure here at PME.
And Sadhu says good afternoon from South Africa, and she sends you a lovely big heart.
That's really good.
And Patricia says hello from Mexico.
Ooh.
And Monica gives you greetings from Croatia.
Oh, all the way from Croatia.
All the way from Croatia.
Oh, this is worrying. This is scary. Look, this is soft, this one. Very soft. Ooh, scary for Halloween. It's spooky. Right, so I'm going to transfer, very worryingly, onto my board, just over here. I'm going to start with the head first of all, because I don't have to be too brave for the head. And it's scary. I'm just going to ease that in, and this is also because this one is actually set, so just come forward enough. There we go. So this is where I'd normally have left this one to chill. And this is the bit that I'm scared about. Because what I don't want to happen is to see it all disappear in a mush. But we should be safe. There we go, job done. Now, wherever we need to, I'm going to tidy it up once it's on there. So don't worry about that either, because I'm going over with the airbrush, remember? And I did mention that kind of first of all, but I'm going to do that once the legs are in position and once they're in place. So if you wanted to, you could pop a little board underneath it as well, but you don't have to, and it's just such a small area really, it kind of makes you think, do you really need to? And I'm not sure that you do. So there we are. So I'm going to leave that to kind of just set for a little bit. We're going to touch up later on. We don't need to worry yet, and you'll see why. And if you've tuned in, we're doing a giant spider called Snape. And this one's going to have slightly different eyes and slightly different legs. We've got some legs already prepared at the moment, but I'm going to keep you in suspense with the legs. I'm going to keep you in suspense because we're also going to show you some webs that you can have to go with your Snape the Spider as well, and they're the ones that Peter's been showing you just behind us as well. It also gives us a little bit of time for everything to settle that we've just done over here too. And I think Peter's just showing you some of those bits and pieces now. So I'm going to do some poppets. So we've got a web and a mini spider, which will go with our big spider. So I've just got my spider web, got it in my poppet pad. And also just to the front here, you can see where I've just decorated it up with a little bit of some luster. I think I just used some pearl on there as well, so that all looks really good. And these are great little decorations just to add with the spider that we're doing. And this is gum paste that I'm using. So just rolling it out quite thin, not too thick. And just placing that over the web. Good push down in the centre and roll that away. So you get a nice good firm push into there. And then just remove all that excess away. Peter's getting in nice and close there. Tidy it up just around the outside edge a little bit. I'm just going to flick round there quickly, just to tidy it up. And I'm just going to give it a push in the centre, just to make sure that I've got a good indent. And I can see the web design through there. I don't know if you can pick that up. If I give that a bit of a wiggle.
Yeah, see it.
Oh, that's good. Just going to give it 2 seconds in there. And I'm going to use my excess paste just to create another little spider. And that's these little efforts that are just here. You can have them flat, or you can kind of push into the belly when they're done like that, and they can kind of then stand up. Oh, whoops, you fell forward. There we go. Okay, so just squash that down on top of the the mould there, push in, down, over, and again get rid of the excess. There we are. And just pull that all away. And don't forget, always pop your paste back in its bag so it doesn't dry out. I'm not good at doing that sometimes. I just fling it to the side and then move on very quickly. So don't do as I do. Make sure that you're putting it away where it needs to be put away. And I'll grab him out in a second and we'll show you what we can do with his legs. I'm going to roll back over that again because that's a little bit sticky and I think there's a bit more excess can come off there, to be honest. There we go, that's got rid of that. So first of all I'm going to release the web and I'm just going to do the scriber. So I'm just going to work my way round and pull each of those little points up and away like that. And back round to the beginning and then just give that a little pull out. And that gives you that beautiful little web just there. And then this is where we can have a bit of fun, have a play perhaps. Got a question there from Pat. We're all grinning because it's the P word, it's the play word. Not allowed to play. Go on then, Pat.
Okay, this is from Sadhu, who we did a shout out to a little earlier.
Oh yes.
And
hello
she
again.
says, can I use fondant with a touch of CMC?
Oh, what, for these...
For the poppets.
For the poppets, you can certainly give that a go. It won't work as well if you don't get the consistency just right. Ideally, I find personally, it works best for me if I do use a gum paste full on properly. But I would say if you're adding CMC and just work it until you find the consistency that works best for you with the poppet, and then I think you'll be well away and have no problems at all. So I think just give it a go. If it isn't quite firmed up enough, then you've always got that flexibility, which is what we're always looking for, to then be able to kind of get it where it needs to be. So there's our little web finished. So just a little bit of dabbing with some luster onto there. And then I'm just going to tweak these legs a little bit, give them a little pull. There he is. This will be our little spider running around. Give him a lift out and just pull him by the legs and out he hops. And then I like to just kind of divide them up if they're stuck together a little bit. And then I'm going to flip him round, do the other side as well because we can't forget that side. And if you have a look, you can see there's little eyes there as well. He's got some eyes, which is nice. So then just grab a leg, pull it, give it a little tweak, and it just brings it to a little point. So it now looks a little bit more spidery, and it just lengthens the legs a little bit as well. Give it a little roll, same thing again, there we go. So that just looks better now. Flip him around and do the same thing the other side. And then we've got some extras to go with our Snape the Spider. There he is. And this is where if you want to, you can just give him a little squeeze or push him in the belly and leave him to dry upside down with his legs up. There we go. And all I've done on here is I've just used a little bit of green luster spray to paint him up to look extra spooky and extra scary. So I'm just going to leave those up there in case Peter needs to or wants to have a little look at those. Now we're going to return back to Snape the Spider and his legs. So let's just place those along there. So this looks a little bit like something out of Alien, I think, to be perfectly honest. And that's what we need to be looking for to create the legs. So here we go. I'm going to bring over, while Peter's looking at that, some of my prepared legs from earlier. So I'm just going to bring those in over here. And if I just bring it, you see, there we go, you can see. Now these ones, I haven't put any buttercream on. The ones on the original Snape #1 has got buttercream on, but it works just as well when there's no buttercream on there. So that's what we're going to be looking at the moment. And we'll just run through what's the quickest, easiest way of achieving that if you're going to use your gum paste, which is what I have used, is some gum paste. So just make sure that that's kind of kneaded up where it needs to be. And we're also going to look at these little front kind of antennas, I think is probably the best thing to call them. I'm not really sure what to call those, to be honest. They almost look like a pair of legs, but I'm not sure. So first of all, if we do this long leg, so obviously we need 8 of these in total, and you will need to leave them to dry. Just roll it into a ball and then just into a tapered sausage and keep rolling. And it doesn't matter if there's any fingerprints in here, because that's not a problem at all. And all you need to do is make sure that they're pretty much all the same size when you're working with them, because you don't want them too short, you just want them to look the same. So about halfway, give it a little bend like so, and then another bend so it's kind of in the quarter, and the same thing there as well. And then I just rolled it over, wheel tool, just to make some marks so that when we airbrush this little leg, we've got a little bit of texture on there to make it look a little bit more spidery. And then you can just pop it into the shape that you want it to be and leave it to dry. And then that's the leg sorted. Then for these little antennae, I've just got quite a big ball of paste. Just take it in half and then just do a mini version of what you've just done. And depending on what you're going to do at the front, you can then just kind of almost have it so it's kind of up if that's what you want to do. Create one the other side as well, and then you can snip it off if you need to, or however you want to go. That gives it its own little base then to be able to kind of dry. There we go. Looks a bit strange, doesn't it? Again, just looks like antennas really. But again, these are going to get airbrushed, which is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to slide all these that are prepared over to one side. And we're going to airbrush one that's already nice and dry. And these that are nice and dry as well. So you should be able to see quite easily how they've gone together. So we'll move Snape over to one side. So if you've just joined us, we're actually just using cake pop mix to create a spider, a very quick, easy spider for Halloween. So there's no fuss and no hassle involved. So last minute parties and last minute treats, that's all ready to roll then. I think you could probably put this together in a very short space of time. You don't even have to put it on a board. You could pop it onto a very big plate or onto something like, I don't know, we've got a turntable here that works well as a bit of a lazy Susan. So if you did a small one, popped it straight onto there, job done really. And then you could just spin it round as well. Don't have to worry about the web if you don't want to. So lots of different quick, easy options there. Now I've got my orange, and that's the one I'm going to first use. So we're just doing a bit of airbrushing. There we go. So just orange all the way. This design's a little bit different to the original one. Just moving that around so you can get a good idea. And then I leave it to dry just for a few minutes, which I'm not going to do. So that you keep going. Okay, I'm just keeping going. I think we may have lost you just for a couple of minutes there, but I haven't done too much more. I'm just doing a little bit of spraying so you can see where we're at with that. Let's blame it on the airbrushing instead, shall we? Because it was noisy. There we go. And then black, I'm just going to add the black in on each of those bends and segments. So just a little bit there. Same thing there again. And then just on the edges, those tips. Don't forget, when you're doing your little legs, or I don't know, whatever you want to call them, those things, just create a few little points at the end. Taper it a little bit, and that helps give you that nice bend. And then if I just flip it over again, I'd leave this to try and just dry a little bit, but I'm just doing this so that you can get a good look. I've glued myself to the leg now. If I just come in from that angle, and you can see the good colours, that's giving you a really nice spidery look, I think, especially when you go to that end bit. Just a light little touch onto there, and you've got that good look where the airbrush just captured it. Just going to come around into the front there, Peter, so it's not too bad. There we go. And again, just on those ends on the front bit. Don't forget, we're going to add it all in and touch it all up a little bit more when we add the legs to the body. At the moment, I'm just going to start spraying over the body while Peter's over there, just to start to touch it up. So you can see, it doesn't matter if you kind of
knock any of the buttercream a little bit. Now the one in the front that I had chilled, I literally only just brought it out before we started. So you can see it's kind of sitting on the top of it a little bit because that one's cold, which is different to this back one, so people can show you the difference there. So I would say when you bring your mix out from the fridge, give it an hour just to kind of come back to room temperature, so that doesn't happen. And while I'm doing that, I think we've got some shout outs, which is all really, really good. Oh, that's running. And just to let you know that we did have a little bit of a hiccup, but everybody's back. Oh, back with us. No problem. So first of all, Love Line says hi from Malaysia.
Oh,
and she says that she loves the spider web board.
Oh, that's good. Very easy, isn't it, as well?
And Desiree says hello from Cape Town, South Africa.
Desira. I should know this name, shouldn't I? Because it's the same as my second. Desira. Yeah.
And Holly Harper says it's her birthday on Halloween.
That's brilliant. Oh, you're going to have a party then. You have to have a party. Oh, that's brilliant. Really, really good. Well, if everybody that's been watching or is just joining us now, what I've done is I'm giving that a few minutes just to settle down. And while that's happening, we're just going to look at a little bit of gum paste going over there, so you can see this is going to make the little bands on her legs just over here. So I'll just make sure we've got a nice cut minutes to sit into there, and we'll just look at showing you how we've created the legs very, very easily as well. There we go. So again, gum paste, but you can use your modelling paste. It's entirely up to you what you want to use. We use sugar paste for this because it is very simple modelling. You don't really need anything that's too strong for it. You can get away with something much softer. And again, great for the kids to be able to do. Very, very easy. And it's a bit different to just doing a simple witch's hat, which otherwise, if you're not careful, you end up doing all the time. So just a little tapered sausage, like so. There we are. Pat's just wandering over there to say hello, keeping an eye on things.
Just wanted to see what you were doing.
She was just checking I wasn't playing. That's what was happening. There we go. So tapered sausage. Now you can bring in your smoother if you need to get a nice smoother shape with this one, because it's different to doing the other legs. There we go. That looks better. I think this witch is a little bit different to my other original one. There she goes, get her legs going. That's better. There we go. Make sure they're the same length. We're going to chop them up if we need to a little bit, so that's not a problem. And just to create her knee, just give it a little roll backwards and forwards. That way the knee will bend a little bit easier. So again, about halfway. Just give it a little bend, like so. And same thing again. And then we've got both little legs ready to go. There we are. So then all we need to do is add some bands on here. So what I've done is I've got these prepared, and I'm just going to add in one of the strips so you can see how it goes. And these extras will just sit over here for a little bit of a later point in time. So there's our strips all neatly out from our strip cutter. You could also use a pen, perhaps, edible pen, just to kind of go over. There we go, we only need one. So again, pop them into the bag and you've got plenty all done. So I'm going to give that a good cut now and just check that that's going to fit round, and that's going to be fine, I'm sure. Little bit of edible glue just onto the back of that using a small brush will do the job for yourselves. There we are now. And just paint that in. You won't need very much on there at all. And just attach and you can see then how you've got the bands going around our little witch. So it's handy because she's all dried now as well. You can see where I've just kind of done them onto the back, but we're not seeing that, so we don't worry too much about that. Now, I've given our little witch some boots as well, so you can see these round this way. If I spin them around that way, kind of like pointy little shoes. And I've just done some little mock-ups there as well for you, so you can see how easy it is to do if you decide to kind of just follow a stage of those. So even if you're joining us a bit later on, you can very easily revisit and go back and just see if you need a bit of a reminder on how that actually works. So again, just a bit of gum paste. I'm just going to chop that in half, roll it into a ball. That's only just so that we've got a good divide going on there. There we are. And just in case you get a little bit sticky, which is what's happening to me, I have of course got my petal base handy. And for those of you who watch on a regular basis or often see us, you'll know I do love my petal base. Quite often we'll put it into the cutters as a release agent, but also carry one in my handbag as well, because it's really good to have there as a lip balm. But obviously always into the paste. If it's gone a little bit sticky, it'll just help it kind of come back again where you need it to be. So just rolling those to a teardrop, both at the same time, so we know that we've got the same size going on. There we go. And a little bit more of a wiggle on that one. So you've got these two lovely little shapes going on. Give it a little push into there. You could, if you wanted to, just kind of start an indent with a ball tool. That's a good way to do it. And just pinch. And that just gives it a little bit of a cuff around the little boot. And just at the back, give it an extra pinch, one way and then the other. And that kind of just gives it a little bit of a thing to hold on to put the boot on. Whoops, a daisy, there you go. Peter, hopefully, I think just getting in there nice and close. You kind of seem to home in a bit nearer then for a brief minute. So at the moment we're making the little boots for our witch that's been eaten by our spider. But if you have just joined us, we're just giving the spider a minute to settle because we've been airbrushing. And then we're going to add his legs in position. There you go. Little pinch at the back again, one way then the other. Just so we've got a really nice shape going on. And then I've just used that sharp end again that I was using earlier when we were doing that lovely spider web board, just on the underside there, just to create a little bit of a heel on our witch's boot. And the same thing the other side as well. So it's very simple and you can kind of change the shape and design as you go along. And then just a little bend upwards. Again, you can give it a little bit of an extra tweak if you need to make them a little bit longer. And that just gives you your witch's little boot that's ready to kind of attach onto her legs. Now, we don't need to worry about kind of how they're attaching really, to be honest, because we're just going to pop them all onto the board and sit them in position, and that's how they'll be. So we'll have one sitting there like that, whichever way round. She's probably going to be squashed under the spider, so possibly something like that. We'll just push one into the other. So they're ready to go and ready to be prepared. And we've also got another spooky treat for you once we finish that with some leftover pops as well. When it comes to it, we've got a shout out from Pat. So ready to go. I'm just going to attach the legs, Pat, while you do that.
Well, first of all, I do just need to apologise. Apparently, the sound went down for part of the time, and I think that's because we've got kind of new technology here.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So big apology, but what is amazing is everybody has stayed with you, Paula.
That's really good, isn't that? Oh, thank you so much.
They've stayed with you. And I do have a shout out.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, that I missed earlier.
Oh, okay.
And that's from Maggie Lamb. And
Maggie.
She says hello.
Oh, hello. Maggie's one of Blossom Cake's teachers. Yes, as well. Approved location from Hong Kong. Yes. And now, you just noticed I've put the legs in the wrong position here. And what I've also just realised is always make sure you have enough room around the front end where your legs need to be of your spider. So I'm just going to start re-sticking them. I may as well come clean that that's what's happened and that's what I've done, because otherwise you'll all be thinking, what on earth am I doing? So I'm just going to reattach my legs back in round that way. And already you can see they're looking pretty good as they go in, but I'm not sure I've left enough room for them all around the front. That's okay, because they can kind of, if I have them, the shorter ones, the more bent ones, I can have them around the front. So just kind of have a little look. They could also be creeping off the board as well. That's also fine, which is what I'm going to have to do with mine. So he's alive and he's actually going to be coming off the board, which is quite eerie and quite creepy actually. So that's quite a good idea. I like that idea. I'm going with that. Pat's got another shout out there as well. So just sticking those in there, the legs. Oh, that does look very eerie actually now, you know.
Oh, it does.
It does. That looks really spooky. Oh! Don't forget I love spiders. Keep telling myself I love spiders.
So, Jamie Lopez says those boots are cute.
Good. I'm glad you like the boots.
And Emma Shepherd says hi, and she says she loves the cake.
That's really good to know.
And Gillian Burden says, wow.
That's good. That's good to know. This is great. So before we add the eyes, I'm just going to add in a little bit of extra airbrushing. So while Peter's showing you where we're at, I'm going to add in a little bit more black because I just want to make sure we've got enough, because we're going to just be kind of like giving it the finishing touches. And that's going to go a little bit onto the board, which is also going to be fine because that will just kind of texture our board up a little bit as well. So while I'm doing that, I'm just making sure I'm staying nice and clean and tidy. I think Pat's got more shout outs as well, which is really good. We're busy today with shout outs. We've got loads of people watching, which is fantastic. There's going to be loads of spiders made at Halloween parties up and down the world everywhere. Not just the country.
Well, as you know, Paula, we try to get in as many shout-outs as we can.
We do. We don't always manage it because there's so many. It can be difficult. Go, Pat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Adam says hello from Ottawa in Ontario.
Oh, good grief. That's
And-
lovely. Hello.
And Mary Hardman Brown says, hi ladies, watching from the US.
Oh, fantastic.
Love your
US
PME here in Illinois.
Oh, isn't that great to know? Yeah, it's really lovely because everybody here at PME loves to know that we have so much support, and we really love it that you're kind of watching, and hopefully we're giving you a little bit of an inspiration and idea to go with it as well. It makes us all very happy here at PME. We have so much support from everybody, and it really is good to know. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of extra on some of these edges. And again, this is where it doesn't matter, because if it goes onto the board, it just adds a little bit of extra depth. Oh, he's looking pretty good actually. I'm quite pleased with him so far. He does look like he's going to come to life in a minute and go running away. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to position the legs, of the which this time I'm going to position them so that they've been squashed. So I'm going to put them over this way. She's been flattened, look. There we are. She didn't get eaten this time. She's squashed underneath there. I'm going to give her her boots on so that she's, at least her feet are warm while she's been squashed. There we go. Just stick her quite big boots. There we go. So there she is. She's squished just underneath there. And then we need to add the eyes in. Now, snake number 1 has got 2 little black pearls for his eyes. Got more shout out. And I'm just going to add in these little pair of eyes as well, because these are a bit of fun. Here they go. Snake 2. Go for it, Pat. Ready whenever you are.
Okay, so this is Annie White, and she says, I'm in Australia, and wow, I'm terrified of spiders, and it's so real looking.
Oh no, not now it isn't. Look at the googly eyes on there, Annie. You'll be fine now. So that's the fun aspect of the spider. So you can go scary or fun with this one. Anyway, so now we've got Snake 2 underway. The last thing that we're looking to do is just kind of another quick idea for your parties is a finger on a biscuit. Now this is pretty much Peter's idea. He saw this finger for a Halloween thing and decided that would be quite good fun. So I said, well, there's no reason why we can't do that. And everybody's doing cake pop mix to make their cakes. So just by grabbing a little bit of that and squashing it into a kind of a sausage shape, like so, you can end up with the finger shape. This one's not sticking together that well, to be honest. It's been hanging around a bit. And then just knuckles, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit kind of like, ooh, not a perfect shape, because it's a severed finger, so we don't really mind if it's not perfect. And that's just the the shaped finger ready to go. And you can pop it on a biscuit. I've got a bone, so I'm just going to lift it and pop it on there, because that's fun to do. Actually, first of all, before I do that, I'm going to spray it green, I think. I've got a couple of fingers, so I've got one there, and I've got one that I prepared it earlier. It's looking good. I prefer the shape of that one. I don't mind either one, actually. So a little bit of spray. So this is green luster. So while Peter's just looking at those green fingers, I'm just going to add in the luster, give it a good shake so you hear the ball bearing going on. And so I don't get in any more of a mess, I'm just going to pop the handle on. You can shake it easier when you do that as well. Wouldn't it be a shame if I sprayed anybody that was standing too near in green luster right now? Oh, whoops, there we go. Oh, we have fun here at PME, you know, we really do. There we go, so that's all done. And I think we've got another shout out as well.
Okay, Paula,
Okay,
I'm not
Matt.
sure where this one's from, but
Okay.
it's from Anita Jordan, and she says, closest I've been to a spider in a long time.
Ooh.
Looks real but brilliant. Well done.
Oh, fantastic to know, that's really good. I'm pleased you're near a spider then, that's good. So I'm just going to make a little nail like we've got here, and I'm going to stamp that out. I've got some leftover paste here, so that'll be good. So just a little oval plunger, into your spare paste, and it's a perfect nail shape really, isn't it? It works really, really well. So just eject that out and that's ready to go. Leave them to dry, because I've got two here that are already dried, and then just attach them with a little bit of piping gel. Now I've put mine into a bag, but you don't have to. A little bit of red into the piping gel, so if you're not familiar with it, Peter can home in on that now. And a bit of food colouring in there, and hey presto, job done. You've got your red. I'm just adding a little bit of the red all over for that kind of gooey look. That's the soft one. You're right there, I'm just going to add that in there now. So that's one that's on the biscuit and one that's not on the biscuit. So that just looks like all the blood oozing out and around from underneath there. There you go. That could equally go on like a little cake slice or something like that as well, which would be ideal. And that's your little treats all lined up. Extra for Halloween as well. So unless you've got any more shout outs, Pat, I think that actually brings us to the very end of showing you what we had to offer as far as cake does. We're actually saying goodbye now. So hopefully if you have managed to come back in again, it's been really great having you with us. Thank you so much for everybody watching. Have a fantastic Halloween. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're making, have the best of fun and the best of times and get spooky. So bye for now. Till next time.